Have you ever dreamed of having your monsters literally summoned in real life when playing Yu-Gi-Oh with your friends? Or having a Pokeball that represents the Pokemons that you've got while playing a Pokemon game? I mean, how cool is that? Having a physical item from the game that you can also use inside the game itself. Example is this arcade machine that caught up my attention called Oreca Battle. It's a game where the monsters that you've got will turn into a card that you can actually use and scan to summon the monsters inside the game. And it is really cool and nostalgic at the same time, since this is what I dreamed of when I was a kid when playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and I also love collectible items. So yeah. So in this devlog, I will show you the game that I made inspired by Oreca Battle. So the first thing I need is the spawning of monsters. But how am I gonna do that if I don't have monster designs? Luckily, me and my students have a postponed game project which was originally an RPG, and I think the characters are a perfect fit to be the monsters in this game, so I use it. And here's the draft of all the monsters. And this is what I'm going to use for now, since the colors and actual designs of the monsters are not yet finished. So with this, after a couple of hours, we now have the spawning of monsters. For this, I made a scriptable object of the monsters that handle its stats, and a summon manager that handles all the monsters from the players and enemy sides. It also has a list for the player monsters prefabs that are summoned for the checking, so that a monsters that was already summoned can't be summoned again. Same with the enemy monsters. I also started the battle system that sorts all the summoned monsters based on their speed stat and created a turn management to handle it. And also a turn indicator that will show what monsters is currently making a move. Nice! Now it's time to work on the actual battle system. I made the moves to be unscriptable objects and made a moveset script to handle the move list, and also a moves to be learned for a list of possible moves that a monster can learn. The moves also has an enum for the type of attack and type of target. And for the actual battle system, I took the inspiration of the roulette system from the Oreca Battle game, that when you press a button, the roulette will move slowly and do the monster's move to where it stops. I also made the target system where you click the HUD of the monsters you wanted to attack. Then the current turn monster will move a little bit to the front of the targeted monster to do the attack animation. It's also the same with the enemies, but the target was random. For the animation, I used YuGiOh cartoon effects and Pyom's hyper casual animation for the attacks. I'll put the link in the description so you can check it out. They are really cool. Next is the leveling system, which was kind of complicated at first. So after the battle result, whether you win or lose, your monsters gonna level up. Their stats will get higher, and you get to choose if you want to change a random pick move to another move, which was in the monsters dedicated moves to be learned list. And also, I used the card design here that also made by my students for the saving progress, which will be for the next part. So since we now have the summoning, the battle, and the leveling up system, next is the actual saving of monsters. And as I was saying earlier in the video, I want the player to save or to have their monsters physically and use it to summon them inside the game. But the problem is, how am I gonna do that? Since what I'm making is not an arcade game in a machine, it's a mobile game. So what I'm thinking is that the monsters will be saved as a card image digitally, so that the player at least still have it in their device. And the thing that came up in my mind is to use QR codes for the saving of informations. So I watched this tutorial that uses Zexing for the QR code implementation and add it to my game. So I used the QR code to save the information of the puff monsters, and I made this UI for the player after the level up panel to choose what monster to save. And also, I made this little animation to make it looks like you actually saving the monster's card, and then After a couple of seconds, it was saved in the gallery. And the cool part here is that summoning using the card or the image was a bit easy since I just need to decode the QR code, check the information, and summon the right puff monster. And I made this cool summoning animation when you upload or summon a monster using its card. And there you have it. For first-time players, I made an option for them to choose if they don't have any card, and it will automatically summon 3 monsters. And if they already have, they can summon it using its card. And for me, this game was like a dream. Like having the monsters you grind to become stronger, actually and literally saved as a card, then use it physically if you printed it, or digitally to defeat enemy monsters, and it feels like I'm a kid again, hoping that when I summon my monsters, it will literally appear right before my eyes. And also, the monsters here will be called puffs, because you know, it's look like squishy, puffy, well, you know what I mean, right? Thank you guys for watching, and if you have some suggestions for the puff designs, puff names, or others, just comment it down below. You never know, you might have your dream monster save as a card in your device.